Good afternoon and welcome to successcafe.tv. My name is Paul Bursey. With me is
Warren Connolly. Welcome, folks. Welcome. Trust you're going to enjoy today's chat.
You're speaking from where?
From Hungary.
Near Budapest.
I won't say where in Hungary because most people will not be able to understand, let alone pronounce. So.
Well, it's the name of a bank, though.
No, it's not.
Sounds like it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is in the UK, but I'm pretty sure it's a Spanish bank, isn't it?
Santander, the Spanish bank, Santander.
Okay.
Yeah. Santander.
Yeah, because I've got a credit card with Santander. Okay, so today's episode, exciting or not, as the case may be. Your time is now. Begin your brighter future today. So, what does that mean to you, Warren?
Well, the way I look at it is that we only live in the now, right? There is only now. There is no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. So your time is therefore now, and it's. I think if you simplify life like that, it can kind of be a little bit easier to make decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I don't know what it's like for the majority of the population. I probably can only speak for the Western world, or at least the UK, USA type, maybe Ireland, maybe Canada, Australia. But what I would say is that a lot of people put things off. Mm-hmm. They, for some reason, for many reasons, they may be presented with an opportunity. It could be presented with another job. And not everybody makes a quick decision.
No.
And I think, I think that's slightly worrying because I think it's because of fear and doubt and worry and the change. People don't like to change, do they?
Yeah, well, people don't mind change as long as it doesn't impact their lives.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is that if we're creatures of habit. We all follow routines and things like that. Yeah. And I've got a good saying here I found, and I have heard it before. It's inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage, and that's from Dale Carnegie.
Oh, okay.
One of my first, I suppose, mentors from many years ago, a long time ago, through books and that. So,
you want to listen to what he has to say, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, got good stuff he's got. Anyway, yes. So, have you ever looked back and said, "If only"?
Me personally, look, I have, and I can't lie about it. I won't fib about that and say I have never looked back and thought to myself, "If only." But more, it's for me when I ask that question, it's more about what if, than if. It's not out of regret. You understand what I mean? It's not about. It's more like if I had done that, I wonder what would have happened. The more as opposed to, well, if I had done that, my life probably would have been better or something like that. What if, if only? So yeah, and I'm sure most of us ask that question, right? We
in some form.
Yeah.
I think
because we do reflect sometimes too much.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a regret. It was a decision I had to make when I was 15. I think it was 15. Yeah. For me, it was either going in the police or joining the army.
Okay.
So I chose the police, and I have no complaints whatsoever. I really enjoyed my time, and I was actually with the same employer for 36 years.
Wow.
Okay. So, but I did wonder what it would have been like in the army.
Oh yes, that's natural, right? I think that's natural.
Yeah. I don't think it was if only. But I wouldn't have minded. I wouldn't minded a little stint. I think what I should have done was probably go in the territorial army.
Okay.
Well, because you're allowed to do both,
Okay.
Maybe that I could have done that, but obviously it wasn't strong enough. Otherwise, I would have done it, because I'm not one of these people that just will sit there and not take action on something. It's
Well, it's funny. Funny you say that, because when I was in the army, I was offered an opportunity to work as a personal protection in the personal protection unit out of the headquarters out of Pretoria, the military headquarters, personal protection for a general, and I turned that down because I thought that they were going to send me back home to Durban so I could go surf every day and be close to home. And this is what I was told. They were going to send me back after, in the military, you do your basic training and then you do your specialized training as well. So they were going to send me back to Durban. That told me. And then I got this offer was presented to me to do closed protection services. And I turned it down thinking I'm going to be going back home. And then they sent me to the desert near the Botswana border. So, trust me, I was thinking to myself at that stage, what if only I'd gone, what would have happened?
Yeah.
Because my whole life would have been very different. I most likely would have gone permanent force, and then perhaps made a career out of that, because that is so specialized, and it's something that you're protecting high level individuals and things like that. So
high value targets.
Yeah, high value targets. Yeah. Who knows what would have happened then? But can't reflect too much on that, because
let's look at this from our audience, from their perspective. Maybe it's if only I really committed to starting that business.
Yes,
there's a million things we can choose. Things would be so much more different right now.
Yes.
Okay, and I think for a lot of people, starting a business is one of those things they say if only. Mainly because, possibly because they're afraid, possibly because they don't want to take the risk, and it's more fun being a risk taker than anything. And that's why adrenaline junkies enjoy it so much.
Yeah. And I think the fear stems from being laughed at, being ridiculed, being looked at as being different. This is where the fear stems from.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to businesses. People don't want to be in that boat where they're looked at as the stranger. Yeah. So it's all the black sheep.
So here's a question for you. Why do we put things off? Why do we procrastinate? Why is it that we never start, that exciting idea that we have?
Fear is definitely a factor, but what lies behind the fear, from what I understand about my own experiences and what I've seen from my own teachers and mentors, is that people procrastinate and they keep putting off things that are important in their lives because it's the fear, but it's the unknown that holds them back. It's that, it's the what if. Again, back to that question, what if? So it is fear, yes, but it's what lies behind the fear, and that is lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, lack of clarity, and that big question, what if? What if this goes wrong? What if this goes all pear-shaped? What then? What am I gonna do then?
Yeah.
And as who was it that I was once listening to? One of the great teachers, so John Maxwell, somebody was talking, referencing to a story about a lady that was in her 70s that went back to school. And so as a young lady, she could never study. She wasn't allowed to study and go to university.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she completed her schooling at the age of 16, I think it was. And then in her 70s, she went to university and she got a degree. Yeah, in her 70s. And that was, the example, the reason why the example was used was because it's never too late, number one. And now is your time to shine whenever you make that decision.
Mhm.
So the decision is purely up to ourselves, right? We can only we can make the decision for ourselves. Nobody else can, or we shouldn't allow other people to make the decision for us. And once we do, then who knows what doors are going to open up.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was going to ask the question, what stops us? But I mean, it's a similar type of question, isn't it? You know, I was just thinking in terms of fitness, what would stop us? Do you think laziness might be one of those?
Yeah, and also this is if you've ever read or listened to the audiobook on Outwitting the Devil, you know, they talk about idleness. And you know, for many of us, we're inherently lazy. Okay, we want things as easily as possible without too much stress or sweat involved behind it.
Yeah.
And we've become conditioned to be that individual to the point where we've become idle, and we know. And then when you become idle, you start to look for things that stimulate you, but are not necessarily healthy for you. And this is the vicious cycle with people with exercise and fitness regimes and so forth. They get stuck on this hamster wheel of pleasing themselves in unhealthy ways. And the more they please themselves like this, the guiltier they feel. The guiltier they feel, the bigger the wheel gets. And then it just becomes this huge vicious circle where you're on a loop continuously and you're unable to get off the loop until somebody grabs you and then pulls you off.
Yeah.
Literally. And yeah, this is also something that holds people back from shining, you know, from realizing their own true potential. It's that.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you have certain people that might have a goal to become fit, maybe for the first time in their life, or to go from fit to super fit. But they put a stop on it or a hold on it because they have to hire a personal trainer or a coach, you know. And I think it's not that expensive anyway, really.
No,
And you can always do something else to find the money if it's going to cost you extra. But people don't think like that. They just say, "Well, maybe, or maybe someday. Okay, I'll do it next year," or you know. I think that you need to get on with it. You know, you need to do it because it's obviously something you want to do. You know.
So how do we do that then?
Well, you get a coach. Well, it depends. I think it depends on who you listen to. Whether it's an audio like this type of thing or video, and from someone. And if you're regularly watching people that actually take action,
Yeah.
you're more liable in the end after repetitive, you know, hitting your ears with this stuff. You know, it's. I think you'll probably do it in the end. But why wait?
Think about when you were a kid. Before and you wanted to go out and play some football. If you watched a game of football on the telly before you went out and play, how much more driven and inspired and motivated were you?
Yeah,
I remember when we used to go surfing as kids, you know, bodyboarding. I would do bodyboarding. My mates were surfing, and we used to watch videos first and then go hit the surf because we would get so inspired and driven by those professionals on the waves and doing stuff that we dreamed to do. So we would do that and then go and do our own thing. And this is why they have motivational speeches, you know, on audio and video and stuff like that for people to do while they're training as well. A lot of people, when they're training, they listen to this stuff as well. That inspires and motivates and drives them to perform better. You know, and this is something that you can even do for yourself if you feel you lack the motivation. Is just get out there, put some running shoes on, get out on the road, go for a walk, go for a run, and then listen to some motivating, inspiring audios while you're doing that, and that will drive you to further inspiration, further motivation. You know, so use the tools of the professionals.
So I'd always wanted to go surfing, and one year I think it was 2005. I think it was something like that. My friend invited me down to Cornwall, Devon, down that way in the West Country in UK, and we went surfing. And I'd always thought, you know, going da 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 da, you know,
hanging 10, like
anyway.
The Eagles
I managed to get about 2 or 3 bars out. The next were bubbles. I don't think surfing was for me. I just couldn't, you know, I just couldn't do it.
No,
anyway,
surfing is, unless you start early,
yeah,
it's really not an easy sport to take on.
I think I've got a problem with balance as well, which didn't help. So, but anyway, it's normally I'm okay with things. So imagine you've thought about doing something, and it was 3 to 5 years ago, and you haven't taken up on it. You haven't started that project or whatever it is. Now think if you had started it. Imagine starting 3 to 5 years ago, where you'd be now.
Oh.
Let's say it was eating clean and something to do with health. Think where you would be now in comparison to where you are at the moment. You'd be in a completely different place.
Those are worlds apart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know.
Wow. Yeah. It's if you think, and I can reflect like that on my own life. You know, anything 3 to 5 years ago that I could have started then that I hadn't started. Yeah, I can pick up 1 or 2 ideas, examples now in my head, but for the majority of people out there, they probably have a whole page full of stuff that they could have started, you know, and it's just because it goes back to the idleness and procrastination. Yeah, it's it eats away at our confidence levels. It eats away at our self-belief. It eats away at our understanding and our belief system about ourselves and life in general.
Yeah.
It really does. It eats away like a bad bacteria that just kind of just gnaws away at flesh.
A bit like a pack of rats or something.
Yeah.
Pack of rats sounds pretty good. Yeah, but can you imagine having done something and gone sort of, wow, that was a heck of a journey, you know? And now I'm in the best shape of my life. Doesn't that sound better rather than, I wish I'd done that? It does, doesn't it? It just sounds better anyway.
Yeah, it comes off easier. It's easier off the tongue and the ears. It's easier on the ears too.
Yeah. Maybe we look back and wish we'd taken sort of massive action in a certain area, you know. So what I would say to people is, and I've said this before, is, you know, why? You've got to know your reason why. It could be just to have a bit of fun. Could be just to achieve something, you know. So you have to sort your why out first, and then you can ask the question, why not? You know, why not?
2 good questions.
Yeah, but then you follow it up with why not? Why not me? Why not me? No, why not me? Why not me? You know, if there's other people doing it, it's something I want to do. Let me go and mix with those people and do the very best that I can and give it a great go. You know, and now the last one was right. You were right. Is why not now? You know, what are you waiting for? There is only now.
There is only now.
Okay, there are a few times when you might have to put it off a little while. I get that, for genuine reasons. You know, maybe you've got an injury. Maybe you need to save up a little bit of money before you get going.
Yeah,
and I get those. They're real reasons.
But those, in saying that,
yeah, hang on. I was going to say, but you can overcome them.
Yeah,
and the overcoming is borrow the bloody money
or plan
it quickly.
Yeah, strategize, plan, do something about it.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm referring to when I say putting it off, I mean properly putting it off.
You used this example a couple of months back in one of the calls where you mentioned that, you know, what if your mother was sitting in a hospital bed halfway across the world?
Yeah.
And she was on a deathbed and you needed to get there as soon as possible. You would find the money to get there. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
And I use that example with, after my mother passed away, I had to find the money to be able to afford the ticket to get to South Africa to go attend her memorial. All right.
Yeah.
And if it means enough to you, you will do it. Doesn't matter. You will find a way to do it.
That's right.
And in light of what's going on right now in our space around us, for everybody, not just you and I, but everybody, anybody that's watching this, anybody that's listening to this, anybody that is not even listening to this and watching this, for everybody that's here today alive, we are all faced with a massive challenge. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And with every big challenge comes an equal and opposite solution to the challenge. It's going to be big. So no matter what your challenge is, no matter how small or no matter how large, there will always be a solution to the challenge. Always.
Yeah.
There's never a challenge that is presented without a possible solution. We can find the answers ourselves. However, it's very challenging to do that when you're trying to think by yourself, when you're stuck in the trees and you can't see the woods. It's very difficult to overcome those challenges and try to outthink yourself, or to try to create some kind of solution to that problem. But if you're doing it with a coach or a confidant or a mentor or somebody that you trust and that you can talk to and communicate with, you and I, Paul, Paul and I are we're building something together at the moment. And I know that if I sit by myself trying to build the same project right now by myself, I'm going to get lost in translation in my own head. But because Paul and I we can be sounding boards for each other, we create ideas between each other, and then we create a solution to the challenge that we're both facing together, because we are communicating. Besides the fact that we're both coaches, that's irrelevant. But we're communicating with each other, and we're creating solutions and answers for ourselves and our own lives, businesses, and so forth. And this is the same for everybody. We all need that person in our lives, all those people.
Yeah, it's the old mastermind effect.
True.
What they refer to it as that anyway. And we all all of us haven't got all the answers.
No.
And you cannot do things on your own. Well, it's possible to do things on your own, but it's actually not fun. And you 10 times it, I would say, 10x your results, your speed, everything, if you work with someone else.
Yeah. And how much more fun is it when you're working with other people?
Oh, yeah.
So much more engaging and interesting.
Yeah, because the worst case scenario is they crack the whip and pull you back. you get out of your tree. Look, the thing is with partnerships is that partnerships don't always work, but
of course,
what you have to be is prepared to grow, be prepared to learn, prepared to listen, and be prepared to compromise, because we are not going to agree on everything. But if one of us disagrees with something, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously talk about it and things like that. But what I'm saying is, and that's what makes a good partnership: being prepared to listen and roll your neck back sometimes in a nice way. It's not about ego.
No,
it's not. It really isn't. It's about getting to the outcome.
Yes.
The quickest way you possibly can, but not cutting corners.
And this has brought up another thing in my head about what we're talking about, is that I find also too often we become so cemented in our ideas as to what is right and what's wrong, or what's good and what's not.
Yeah.
That when somebody else presents an alternative to our thinking, we become stuck. We become locked in that way of thinking, that we're no longer open to new paradigms or new suggestions or new points of view. So this is also something else that I find is restricting people from taking action, is the fact that they typically do prevent themselves from being open to new ideas and new points of view and new approaches. For example, I'm working with a couple right now, and they have certain ideas about certain things that I provide a service for. Okay, so for them, their idea of part of what I do is not in line with their thinking. However, I am fully aware that what I can offer them is going to be beneficial to them in the long run and in the short term as well. So it's up to me now to try to open up that way of thinking that they have and let them see without the blinkers that what I have to offer them can be fully engaging for them and beneficial for them in their health, their well-being, and everything in their lives. So yeah, this is my challenge now, is to help people that I'm working with personally to take that step forward and not procrastinate and allow themselves to shine. Yeah, I'm talking from a wellness point of view here, but still, nevertheless, it's relevant.
Yeah, I think. I mean, look. I think oftentimes there's a lot to do when you're creating something, and as I say, I think that sometimes we listen to people too much, but the wrong people.
Yeah,
I think you have to surround yourself with the people who are either on the same journey as you, or have been on the same journey, or know what it's like.
Yes.
You know, it's no good talking to Fred down the local bar about running a business if he's no disrespect to any unemployed, by the way, but he's unemployed. He's been unemployed for 15 years, spends his time drinking beer in the pub. You know, you need to seek out the people with knowledge that are prepared to grow, they're always learning, and are prepared to talk to you about similar things.
And it's not just Fred down the bar. It's also very often it's your own family and friends.
Yeah, well, I didn't really want to bring them into it. No, I'm joking. No, I'm only joking. You know,
I mean, those are the people that you might be wanting to. Not might be, but you want to be more guarded against, is your own family and friends, and they are very often the ones that prevent you from shining. And it's no fault of theirs. It's just that people don't want, the people that are closest to us don't want us to fail. They want us to be happy and successful and that, but they don't want us to fail in the same breath. So when we go to them with an idea that is against the way that they think, they're going to give you their point of view based on their thinking, but they have no experience on that. So it's like, you're not going to go to let's say, for example, a mechanic and a doctor. A doctor can work fantastically well with his hands or her hands. They can do intricate things, like, let's say, a surgeon. Okay, you got a heart surgeon, and they have primary focus. They're able to work with their hands intricately, and that. But you're not going to ask a heart surgeon to fix your car engine, and likewise, you're not going to ask a mechanic to do heart surgery on you. So why would you go to Fred down at the bar to talk about a business or your idea of a business or what you want to do and whatever that is, when Fred has been, as you say, he's been unemployed for 15 years and he sits in the bar drinking every day? Yeah. Oh, we do, Paul. People too often do.
Yeah.
And they don't lend a second thought to it.
No, that's right. And they don't really care.
Yeah.
They're probably just getting their point of view over, which we all like to do, I know. But so what would it be like to have something to look back on in 3 years' time from today? So you can actually say to yourself, I am so glad that I took massive action on building that business. How would that feel? That you were successful and you built it to, you would decide what success means to you. But let's say at the lower level, let's say you built it to earn £1,000 per week. How would you feel? Because I'll tell you what, there's not many people earning £1,000 a week.
If you think globally, no.
No. So that in itself, and even if that was you class it as a failure, it would still be fantastic because you'd built something. We look at things the wrong way sometimes, but we need to go out there and get busy. and find what works for us. What's
also-
going to, what's going to, I can't remember the thing I was going to say. Yeah. What do you want at the end of the day?
what works for you personally? What works for you personally?
What rocks your boat? That's what I was going to
What
say.
rocks your boat? Yeah.
What rocks your boat? What's going to get you excited? What's going to get you moving? It's for me, and we're very similar because our sort of, apart from family, our motivation is health on one side and wellness, business on the other side.
Mhm, mhm.
And building a legacy. So we're very similar in that respect. And but what about you? What do you want? Are you prepared to graft? Smartly, of course, but are you prepared to graft?
And what for? Like, for example, you said your why. Is it to build a legacy? Is it to create a legacy? Is it to have your own time to yourself and not be accountable to anybody else? Is it to build a dream home? Is it to help other people? Is it to make an impact? Or is it just so that you can say, look, I've achieved it and look at me? And that's fine if that's what rocks your boat.
Mm. Mm.
So find that what is it, without even asking yourself the question why, but so ask yourself what is that big thing, and then you can find out what your why is beyond that as well. Is it so that you can have autonomy? Is it so that you can travel the world whenever you want to? Is it so that you can be of service to other people and help other people to succeed at the same time as you're succeeding? Because there are ways, and this is something that a lot of people yearn to be able to do, is to be of service, because inherently it's built within us to be of service to others. It's within us. That's part of our genetic makeup. But people resign themselves to the fact that they're never going to be able to be of service to somebody because they don't know how to be of service to somebody. It doesn't mean you can't learn it. Sometimes it's just a learned thing. You need to find the right ideas for you and then apply that idea, but take action on it. Because something that I mentioned at the beginning of this year quite a bit was taking action in 2021. This is the year to take action. Last year was kind of a planning time, and now we need to take action, period. And it doesn't matter how you take action, you've got to take action this year. Somehow, somewhere, in some shape, form, or whatever, you've got to take action. And let's just find a way to do it for yourself, with or without somebody else's help, but it's always easier when you do it with somebody else's help.
Absolutely. Yep. So do it now.
Mm.
If you don't do it now, that's up to you, and good luck to you, whatever you're doing or not doing. What I would say is, promise me though, you either do it now or you don't in a few years time moan about not doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, that's fantastic. You do what you want, but don't complain about it. Don't murmur. Don't whine, and don't talk anybody else out of doing something. Just say, wish you luck.
Bottom line, there's two different types of people in this world.
Yeah.
Those that do and those that don't. Those that see and they take advantage, they take action immediately, or if not immediately, within a very short space, but they don't sit procrastinating and trying to analyze and be perfect at everything first. And this was one of my biggest faults, was trying to make everything perfect before applying anything. And then I realized it's never going to be perfect, but it was still difficult to overcome that way of thinking in the same breath. But then there's also those people that just sit back, watch the telly, drink a couple of beers every night, put their feet up. And then, as you say, 3 to 5 years later, they sit back and they think, what if? And then, so which one are you going to be? Which person do you want to be? And you make a decision from there.
On that note, Warren and myself, we're building an executive program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to know more, contact us. That's all we'll say.
You do want to know more. At least just to know more. That's all. You don't need to take action now. we would like you to take action now, but at least contact us to know more.
Yeah, absolutely. You have nothing to lose. Anyway, what I would like to say is, please, if you haven't liked the page, successcafe.tv, please go on and like the page. And if you love this video or like this video and you want to show us a bit of love and love or like this video, comment on the video, we would be very much obliged. And if you want to ask us anything, please feel free to do that. And as I say, we're back on here next Wednesday for the main call. And I, in my capacity because running this, I do a short video Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, inviting people to this call and giving a short snippet of information as well. So, but for those who follow us on our other channel at healthylife.tv, we'll see you on Friday at 4 o'clock London time, 5 o'clock Budapest time.
Yes.
So with that, I've finished. Anything you want to finish up, Warren?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Folks, just take action. Listen to Paul's words, sage words of advice, and take action.
Have a great day, everyone. See you soon.
Enjoy the rest of your week, folks.